Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is at Doug Pless. Also, just a note, Bookmap Discord is free and available to everyone, whether you subscribe to Bookmap or not. A lot of great content there. All right, the focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as a directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups for entries and exits. And when I talk about setups today, I will be talking about an underlying asset, and setups can be taken any number of ways. For example, in the S&P 500, setups can be taken with the ES futures, ES futures, SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, or even ES options. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel and Discord, as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post, and I'll do my best to answer your question. And hello, Floyd's Garage, welcome, glad you're here. All right, here's my agenda for today, Wednesday, November 29th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events for today as well as the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. And then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's start with news items. For today, GDP, the GDP report, this is the second estimate for GDP, came out this morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That number was 5.2%. That was greater than expected and greater than the previous number. And then for the rest of the week, tomorrow, PCE data is out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That could be a market mover. And then on Friday, PMI data is out at 10 a.m. and then Jerome Powell will be speaking at 11 a.m. And there have been a number of or variety of Fed speakers yesterday and throughout the rest of the week. All right, so that is the economic data and events. All right, let's get to positional analysis now. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. This is the S&P 500 futures in Bookmap. ES futures. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I want to take a look at a larger time frame. I'm going to go to the SPX. This is a 30-day 1-hour chart. First of all, I want to point out the key turning points on this chart. This is the when the rally began, Monday, October 30th. The Friday before, traders loaded up on puts, concerned about weekend risk. And then as the weekend passed, implied volatility started to drop. Those puts lost value. Market makers could buy back their short hedges. And this led to a huge IV collapse, put Vanna rally. The next turning point, for lack of a better term, this is the November 10th Magnificent 7 rally, followed up by the CPI report that came in less than expected on Tuesday 11/14. And then price has been slowly grinding up in a positive gamma environment. Note at this first turning point, market makers' position on the gamma curve was quite negative, and it has shifted gradually toward positive. Right now, gamma notional for SPX remains positive and slightly negative for SPY. We'll take a look at that in a minute. So note as prices increased again, gamma notional has become more positive, and the rally has slowed down, leading to more consolidation as the market maker gamma notional has shifted from very negative to positive. All right, let me point out the levels on this chart. First, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. That's based on the options market. That changes once a week. I update that on the weekend. The dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move. Again, based on the options market, that changes once a day. And SPX is trading within both of those ranges. Right, next I want to point out the Spotgamma levels on this chart. These are proprietary Spotgamma levels available to Spotgamma subscribers for a variety of platforms. This is Thinkorswim. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, here's the put wall at 4,400. That's a strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. The next level up is the 4,500 level. That's the absolute gamma strike. That's a strike with the largest absolute negative and positive gamma. So that's where most of the gamma weighted open interest is concentrated. The next level up is the volatility trigger at 45.45. That is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. On the other hand, above that level, like SPX is trading right now, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And then finally, the call wall is at 4,600. That's the strike with the largest net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. So the range, the potential floor for price at 4,400, potential ceiling at 4,600, and the level of highest gamma weighted open interest at 4,500. So that is the potential range for SPX. Note the levels did not change from yesterday, so there were no changes in the key daily levels for SPX. All right, let's take a look at let's take a look at a one-day chart just to get a closer look at the SPX levels that are in play for today. Let me zoom in on this a bit. So this is SPX, a one-day chart. Note this level, the 43.73 level, acting as resistance. That was noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note, and it did its job. And just above that is the upper daily expected move. There was a big gap up this morning, and then price reversed, and we'll take a look at the Bookmap chart and see exactly where it did reverse. And also note that SPX did trade above its upper daily expected move earlier today and may be trying to make its way back up there. All right, let's take a look at Bookmap now. In Bookmap, I have my own cloud notes, so I can show the SPX levels. There's that 45.73 level that acted as resistance, did its job. Here's the 45.87 level that was not shown on the one-day chart that we just looked at, but that was noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note and acted as resistance almost to the tick. I also have SPY levels on my chart. Here's the SPY 455 absolute gamma strike acting as support today. So if you have any questions about why I show these levels on my chart, there's your answer. These levels were in the chart when I put these levels on my chart when I was doing my preparation before the open this morning. All right, now there is a difference in price between ES and SPX, and right now it's just under 9 points. So I'm using 9 today. So ES minus SPX is 9. All right, so this 45.73 level should be add 9 points to that to get 45.82. So ES 45.82 equals SPX 45.73. And I do post the index relationships that I use: ES to SPY, NQ to QQQ, and ES minus SPX, and NQ minus NDX. I post those in Discord every morning, usually around 10 a.m. It takes a few minutes for those levels to settle out for the day. All right, so I talked about shifts in levels for the SPX. There were no shifts in levels. For SPY, there were several shifts in levels. So first of all, the volatility trigger shifted higher to 454. The put wall dropped pretty dramatically yesterday and shifted back up to 452. And then finally, the absolute gamma strike for SPY shifted lower to that 455 level that I showed as support today. All right, so that's the S&P 500 levels in play for today. Note, ES also traded above its upper daily expected move. That's shown by the dashed blue line just above the SPY 457 level. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ now. This is the NQ futures in Bookmap. And first I want to isolate and just take a look at the QQQ levels that are in play for today. Then we'll come back to this chart. This is a one-day chart for QQQ. Again, round numbers in play. 394 acting as resistance. Then 392 around that level acting as resistance. And then the 390 level acting as support. 390 is the absolute gamma strike. So just like the SPY absolute gamma strike acting as support, the QQQ absolute gamma strike at 390 also acted as support. And note there was only one shift in levels for QQQ. The put wall shifted up to 360, so not in play, but the put wall did shift up. All right, let's take a look at NDX. Zoom in just a bit. So this 16,000 level for NDX continues to be in play, and that is very close to the QQQ 390 level. So kind of a cluster of levels there, the QQQ 390 and the NDX 16,000 large gamma 1 level acting as support. And just like the S&P 500 ES futures, I have my own cloud notes for the NQ futures. I'm showing NDX levels and QQQ levels, as well as the big round numbers for NQ, shown with the red lines, the 50s and the zeros. So there's this cluster of levels that I was talking about, the NDX 16,000 and the QQQ 390 absolute gamma strike, acting as support, and then the 394 acting as resistance. All right, again, there was only one shift in levels for the QQQ. Put wall shifted higher, and for NDX, there were no shifts in levels. All right, so those are the levels in play for today. We'll talk about setups in a few minutes. Before that, I want to take a look at gamma notional to see how market makers were positioned on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. Going to look at these numbers right here. This is gamma notional, or market makers' position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. For the S&P 500, SPX gamma notional is still positive, actually increased from yesterday. And then for SPY, gamma notional shifted to negative. So it was pretty low yesterday, just at 52, so shifted to negative today. And then for the NASDAQ, NDX and QQQ gamma notional remain positive and actually shifted higher from yesterday. And gamma notional for RUT and IWM remain positive but shifted lower. All right, let's take a look at the Vanna model now. We can get a graphical representation of what this means. And just to point out, in a positive gamma environment, for an index, Spotgamma assumes that traders are short calls, market makers are long calls, and they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure as price increases, and they can buy back their futures as price decreases. So in a positive gamma environment, they are trading against price, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. All right, so let's get a graphical representation of that. I want to look at the Vanna model. What this chart is showing, this is for SPX, market makers delta notional on the vertical axis, and price, spot price, on the horizontal axis. There are two curves on this chart. The first, the light gray curve, the light gray curve shows how market makers delta notional may change with changes in price only. The purple curve adds implied volatility to the equation. That shows how market makers delta notional may change with changes in price and implied volatility. And that change in delta with a change in implied volatility is the Vanna effect. Vanna is a second order Greek, and the purple line is the one that we want to take a look at. So let's check a price now for SPX, trading right around 45.66, right here at the bottom of the curve. So they're really, if in a narrow price range, there's really not much of a Vanna headwind or tailwind. If price starts to move up, market makers' delta notional will increase, and they will have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. Remember, they always want to remain delta neutral. And then on the other hand, if price starts to drop, market makers' delta notional will increase, and they will have to sell future to hedge their delta exposure. And this left portion of the curve is typical of a negative gamma environment, where market makers are trading with price dropping, implied volatility increasing, and they will have to sell futures. All right, so that is SPX. Let's check SPY. And note this V-shaped curve is very typical of a positive gamma environment. Check SPY. So more skewed to the left. Remember, SPY gamma notional is slightly negative. This higher skew to the left is typical of a more negative gamma environment. SPY right now is trading right around 456. Also near the bottom of the curve, indicating there's not much Vanna effect with small movements up or down. And finally, let's check QQQ. 391, just above the absolute gamma strike, also at the bottom of the curve. So in this case, with small movements in QQQ, not much of a Vanna effect, but pretty similar to SPX. If price continues to move up, market makers will need to sell futures. That tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And on the other hand, if price starts to move lower, market makers will need to sell futures, and that will tend to enhance that move lower. All right, let's take a look at some setups now. And first, I'm going to take a look at Spotgamma Hero to see what options traders have been doing today. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. What this chart is showing is price for SPX and the Hero signal, hedging impact real-time options. Everything that we've looked at so far, other than Bookmap, has been static data based on open interest that's updated once daily, sometime during the night. Spotgamma applies their own algorithms to this data to come up with all the levels and information that we were just looking at. And that is all static. It's updated once a day. This is real time. So this is showing options trades, market maker hedging activity for a combined signal for SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. Now, Spotgamma does provide individual signals for each of these instruments. I like to look at the total. This is what the total is what really has an influence on price action for the S&P 500 futures, ES futures. So when traders buy and sell options, market makers hedge those trades with ES futures. All right, let's zoom in here and take a look at a setup from this morning. Note this is the cash open right here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And initially the Hero flow, options trades, market maker hedging activity was positive. Traders were taking positive delta positions, and that quickly changed right around 10 a.m. Price moved lower. we can take a closer look and see at puts and calls to get more clarity about what was happening. So what this is showing, the orange line, rising orange line, shows that traders are buying calls. They took their foot off the gas right around 9:55. Sorry about that. Spotgamma's working on this. Rising orange line, traders buying calls right around 9:55, 10 a.m. They took the foot off the gas. Stopped buying calls, started selling calls. Also, they were buying puts, that's shown by the falling blue line, and then activity shifted lower. So starting around 9:55, 10 a.m., both the blue line and the orange line were moving in the same direction. That is a very powerful directional signal, and price moved lower. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go back to ES. Zoom in. All right, so we know 9:55, 10 a.m. traders started selling calls and buying puts. Market makers have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. Now let's take a look at the clues in Bookmap here. So first of all, this was a level, again, noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. So when traders start taking negative delta positions, I am anticipating a reversal lower. So I see that potential resistance level. I'm also watching the volume dots here. Green volume dots are showing, the volume dots are showing market buy minus sell. Green dots indicate more buyers than sellers. And right at that 45.87 level, the volume dots shift from green, showing more buyers, to magenta, showing more sellers. Retest of that level, aggressive sellers start to come in, and price moves lower. First target, all this liquidity, shown by the heat map and Bookmap. Those are resting limit buy orders, acting as a magnet for price. And initially, they do repel price. Price reverses lower at the next resistance level down, also VWAP. That's shown by the light blue line, and price moves down to the SPY 455 absolute gamma strike. Note during this time, cumulative volume delta trending down, and also sell stop orders were fueling the move lower. That's shown by the falling yellow line. Also the on-chart indicator showing sell stop orders, these small red dots. That's pretty typical. Once price starts moving in a direction, stop orders will help to fuel the move. All right, so very nice short setup in the S&P 500 today, confirmed with both options trades, market maker hedging activity, as well as order flow here in Bookmap. All right, let's go back to Hero now. And you can see right around 11:15, traders start buying calls again. They also stop buying puts a few minutes later and start selling puts. Again, the blue line, orange line moving in the same direction, and price moves higher. And this is pretty typical behavior in a positive gamma environment, more mean reverting price action. Traders buying dips and selling rips. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ now. Just like the S&P 500, this is a combined signal for NDX and QQQ. Zoom in just a bit. Separate out puts and calls. So what this is showing, as from the open, as price was rising, traders were buying puts. Not doing much with calls. That line was pretty flat. Then starting just after 10 a.m., they started selling calls, resumed buying puts. Orange line, blue line moving in the same direction, and price moves lower. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Zoom in on this. Note the consolidation up around the NQ 200 level, as well as QQQ 394. Whoops, wrong tool. Aggressive buyers on the way up from the cash open. Looked like it was going to be a trend continuation from the pre-market. Traders had something else in mind. So consolidation really almost for a half an hour around that level, and buyers are exhausted. Green dots change to magenta dots, so this final test right around 10 a.m., aggressive sellers really come in and move price lower. And unlike the S&P 500, as price was moving up, large traders were selling with iceberg orders. That's shown by the falling light blue line. Large traders use iceberg orders to hide their size. So it took some patience here. But finally price reversed lower as traders started selling calls and buying puts. And just like S&P 500, confirmed by the falling cumulative volume delta, that's the dark blue line, and then sell stop orders fueling the move lower, shown by the falling yellow line. More consolidation right around, let's say between 391, 392, and then finally the final test and reverse lower down to QQQ 390 just after 11. All right, I'm looking for point of control. It looks like point of control is, it's hard to see this line, just below 392, but there's a lot of volume concentrated since about 11:30, closer to 391, between 390 and 391. All right, let's go back and check Hero again. All right, there's another signal that provides a lot of valuable information. That is another combined signal. That is this Magnificent 7, Mag 7. This is a combined signal showing options trades, market maker hedging activity for again, a combined signal for the stocks known as the Magnificent 7: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. And we'll take a look at some of those stocks individually. Let's zoom in on this. And this is a great signal. These 7 stocks make up a very large component of the NASDAQ 100 as well as the S&P 500. And this is fairly new, very valuable information here. Let's zoom in on this. So traders, options traders, really weren't buying in on this pre-market rally. Negative delta, and really got going. They really started taking negative delta positions right around 10 a.m. Let's see what they were doing. So they were buying puts from the open, shown by the falling blue line, call line up and down, and then let's say around 10:05 they really started aggressively selling calls, and price started moving lower then. And that continues up through now. Traders continue to buy puts and sell calls in the Magnificent 7. Potentially taking profits in these stocks. I know I got out of long-term positions, one in Tesla today and Meta a couple days ago. So that doesn't mean all stocks are going lower, just the Magnificent 7. There are several enterprise stocks and cybersecurity stocks moving higher today: Workday, Palo Alto Networks, CrowdStrike. But traders definitely look like they're either exiting or taking negative delta positions anyway in the Magnificent 7. And again, we'll take a look at some of those individual stocks in just a moment. All right, so that is the NASDAQ additional clarity for both the S&P 500 and NASDAQ provided by this Magnificent 7 signal. All right, let's take a look at some stocks now. I'm going to start with Microsoft. So what I did today, once this move lower got going, I sorted my hero signals. So this is my watch list down below the hero chart. And I can sort by name or price, or in this case, by hero signal. What this indicator is showing is the strength of the hero signal compared to the last 30 days and the last 3 days. Let me show Tesla, for example. The entire length of the slider indicates it's comparing the strength today with the last 30 days. So the hero signal for Tesla is showing that the hero signal is the weakest that it has been in the last 30 days. It's near the left end of the slider. Then the colored portion is showing the last 5 days. So for Tesla, the hero signal for today is the weakest that it has been in the last 30 days and the last 5 days. All right, so we'll take a quick look at Apple. Last time I looked, it was not moving much. It may be worth a look again. All right, for Apple, note the gamma levels here. 190 key gamma strike. Good target for a move lower. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go to Apple. And a quick move up at the open. Well, I'm just going to show data from 4 a.m. This is as soon as DX feed provides data. Trend up, sharp move higher at the open. And reversal at 192. You can see all the aggressive sellers coming in with the magenta volume dots. Pullback entries at 191. And initial target at the 190 key gamma strike. Price continues to move lower. So a good way to find these is sorting either your watch list or the entire list of stocks that support Hero with this Hero signal. You can look sort it by weakest to strongest or strongest to weakest. All right, that is Apple. The next, let's go back to the list. Next, Microsoft. Actually, let's go back to Apple. Note that signal really didn't get moving lower until about 10 a.m. when everything really started to reverse lower. Traders mainly buying puts. They're also selling calls, but put buyers driving price lower. When traders buy puts, market makers sell the puts, and they have to sell stock to hedge their delta exposure. Let's go to Microsoft. Note for Microsoft, 385 call wall. Price opened lower than that, right around 384. Here's the 380 key gamma strike, and then down below that, the 377.50 put wall. Traders buying puts and selling calls. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go to Microsoft. There's the 385 call wall up above. Looks like price did not quite make it to that 377.50 level, but did move lower than 380. Let's go back and check those Spotgamma levels. 377 put wall, 380 key gamma strike. 380 key gamma strike. 377 put wall not shown. I'm just showing the round numbers. So the put wall looks like, let me just see. So that looks like that was just right above the 377 put wall that acted as support. Note now some aggressive buyers coming in, shown by the green volume dots. Let's go back to Hero. So after this sharp move lower, it looks like several block trades there. Large institutional traders Then the hero signal levels off and price consolidates. All right, the next I want to take a look at is Tesla. Let's go back to the list. Tesla next on the list. Looked pretty bullish right first in the morning. Let's zoom in on this. 250. Call wall, key gamma strike. And Tesla has been pretty bullish recently. Gapped up, moved up above those levels, then started moving lower. So initially there was a call wall breach, and it took several tests, pretty choppy action, but Tesla moved lower as traders were taking negative delta positions. Mainly selling calls today. That's shown by the falling orange line, also the negative notional value. Net for the day, they have been buying puts. That's also shown by the negative notional value there. Let's go to Bookmap. Take a look at Tesla. Remember, 250 is the call wall. A lot of choppy action, but price did trade above the call wall in the morning. Then right around 10, oops, wrong tool. Tesla started making a series of lower highs and moved down below the call wall. And nice trend lower, giving a couple of opportunities for shorts. All right, let's go back and take a look at Hero. All right, so for the day, traders continue to take negative delta positions in Tesla. All right, let's go back to the list. All right, not a lot to see here. AMD 125 is the call wall, and it looks like price has been trading up and down around that level. And if anybody has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. And really not a lot of movement in Amazon today. Let's take a look at Nvidia. And initially, Nvidia traded higher, and then just right around 10 a.m., like everything else, options traders shifted from positive delta to negative delta, and Nvidia moved lower. So today, traders are buying puts and selling calls on Nvidia. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Sharp move up in the morning. Resistance right around 487. Still a lot of aggressive buyers, a lot of green volume dots. Reverses lower at 485. Let's go back to so the only gamma level in the range of this chart is the 477.50 hedge wall. Let's take a quick look at Netflix. Looks like Netflix now trading up to around its key gamma strike. Take a look at Meta. Traders continue to take positive delta positions in Meta right now. Looks like it may be finding support at the 332.50 put wall. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Here's the put wall. Looks like price is chopping up and down around that level. All right, Joel wants to look at GLD and USO. So let's do that. And Joel, just like yesterday, I don't have either of these ETFs in Bookmap, but we can take a look in Hero. We'll start with GLD. So gold moving up toward the 190 call wall, key delta strike and key gamma strike. And net for the day, traders are taking negative delta positions, although the gamma notional is very low, or the notional value there, I'm sorry. So net for the day, traders are buying puts and selling calls. All right, let's take a look at USO. Very small, low notional value. Notional value only 3.12 million. And 70 hedge wall, key gamma strike, put wall below. All right, Floyd's Garage asked about DBA. Don't know if that's available. No, it looks like Floyd's Garage, I'm sorry. DBA is not available, does not support Hero. All right. When I talked about Tesla, we can take a quick look again. So Hero typically supports stocks and ETFs that have a larger, more active options market. It's not available for all stocks, so DBA I doubt has much of an active options market. All right, so Omir, there you go. Tesla, traders taking negative delta positions. As I showed before, they were traders are selling calls and buying puts in Tesla. And Tesla reversed below the 250 call wall key gamma strike. All right, let's do a check on the indices now. Go back to the S&P 500. S&P 500 still consolidating right around 456. Point of control just above that. Let's see what options traders are doing. Go back to the S&P 500. So somewhat of a departure in options trades and price action. Let's just take a look at a shorter look back period to see if we can get more clarity. So looking at just the last 30 minutes of data, the hero signal has been up and down, and price action pretty flat. One other thing that we can take a look at is next expiry. So for the S&P 500, that would show options trades for options that expire today, the 0 DTE. So it looks like there's a very a very strong correspondence between the green line, which is showing 0 DTE options that expire today, as well as all expirations shown by the purple line. It looks like the green line is making up maybe a little bit over 60% of the total notional value for options traded today. Let's check NASDAQ. So in NASDAQ, the hero signal is starting to move lower again. Let's check Magnificent 7. Also moving lower. Traders continue to take negative delta positions in the Magnificent 7 stocks. And I did post a screenshot of these little thumbnails of my watch list and Discord this morning. They were all red except for the signal for the S&P 500 futures, ES futures. So traders taking this opportunity today to take negative delta positions and sell the Magnificent 7. Let's go to Bookmap. Check on NASDAQ. So NASDAQ also consolidating, in this case right around 391, and the point of control is just below that level. Order flow as well as hedging flow looks bearish. All lines in the subchart, icebergs, CVD, and stop orders all trending lower. CVD is still positive for the day, but not by a lot. Let me do a quick check for questions. All right, Omir, you're welcome. All right, everyone, my time is up. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you for your questions and comments. And I will see you tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow PCE data out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Could be a market mover. And we'll talk about it tomorrow afternoon. Thanks again. Bye.